Have you ever avoided talking to someone altogether because you're perhaps really worried that you're going to say something awkward? Do you perhaps rehearse these conversations in your head for hours upon hours and still feel anxious about it? It's something that's very common today, and it's something that not a lot of people understand. When I was younger, in my early 20s, I suffered with social anxiety. Having to sort of plan out certain conversations in my mind was more based around certain people and worrying whether or not I'd be able to kind of fit in, if that makes sense. I had to take myself out of that situation. I used to be the guy that would go home early from the pub, avoid going out in cities, in nightclubs and things like that, because I was worried about these huge social settings, worrying that people are going to look at you and put you on a pedestal in their own mind with their own expectations, and you get scared of that comparison. At the end of the day, everyone on any kind of level can feel nervous. It's a completely normal feeling. But social anxiety is different. It's kind of like it on steroids. It's overwhelming. It consumes you. You end up in this spiral in your own mind, and it's a lot more common now than people tend to realise. And I think talking about it more is going to help the people that do suffer with it overcome it. It was something that I dealt with on my own, and I'm quite glad to say now I've overcome. But I had to take a long, hard talk with myself and had to gradually over time put myself in a few uncomfortable situations, and it felt good in the end. It felt good when I managed to overcome it and break out of what felt like had trapped me for a very long time. Social anxiety on a whole it's not one generic thing. It can be, there's a list of different attributes for it. And some people can have, say, 4 out of 10 of these, or they can have all of them, or, you know, it's a very broad spectrum. One of them can be you're intensely fearing being judged all the time by people around you. You're always worrying what they think of you, how they perceive you, and it forces you into this shell, and you can really get worked up about it in your own mind. Another thing people struggle with is avoiding eye contact altogether. People are afraid of that engagement. I remember I was, and you don't want to engage with someone because you're kind of shy and you're worried, and that can restrict you from having these conversations with people as well at times. And a big one for me, another example, is worrying about big social events, especially before they happen. Running scenarios through your mind, thinking about what could happen, whether or not you look silly or not, whether you're dressed correctly, and that was a big one for me. Some people can have strong physical symptoms of it when it comes on, you know, like profuse sweating. You know, they can feel their heart race. They can almost tremble sometimes. You know, it can be really, really intense for some people. Sometimes you can, after leaving a social interaction, run conversations through your mind that have already happened, and you can sit there and say to yourself, did you say this right? Were you meant to say this? Did you look silly? What did he think of you? And that can be very overwhelming, and to think that to yourself after a social interaction can make the next one seem even more intimidating, because you're then worried about what's going to happen. You can also find it difficult to do what's considered normal things in public when you're out and about, like eating food or just speaking to someone. Turning up to these social events, you know, they can completely encase you and confine you and make you feel completely trapped. There are so many different shapes and sizes of anxiety today, and so many different forms, and it can manifest itself stronger in certain people than it can with others. And when these symptoms are brought on, it can trigger, I'm sure you know, or you've heard of the fight or flight response, where the balance of the fight or flight response favours the flight. You want to just get yourself out of there. You want to get back into your comfort zone, and you want to close the doors and be by yourself. And it's overwhelming, more, you know, it overpowers the fight response, and there's not that balance. And I found that having to fight against that, I kind of tried to level that balance out. I tried to fight it a little bit more and try to kind of get out of my own head. To some extent, you have to try to normalise it in your own mind and say to yourself, this is just your brain trying to protect you. Always try to talk to people, close friends and family, if it makes you feel more comfortable about having social anxiety if you do unfortunately struggle with it. You are not alone. There are lots of people out there that are struggling with this thing, and it's very, very real, and it can change the course of your life if you let it. But I'd like to try to help you to take actions against trying to turn that around, because for me it was a massive turning point for me, being able to beat these demons and overcome them and thankfully now today say that I have very little, if any, social anxiety whatsoever. And I had to take those first few steps. I'd like to kind of pass that on to you and help you with your struggles and let you know that you're not alone. So instead of making one big video, I've decided to pull this apart into little pieces because I think it deserves its individual recognition. I'm going to make little episodes and pick apart these struggles that people can have and hopefully help you if this is something that you struggle with. In the next video, I'm going to talk in a little bit more in depth about my struggles and how I overcame my social anxiety when I was younger. So I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care.